At number 7, we find a living legend, Robert De Niro. Born in New York City in 1943, De Niro has spent over 5 decades mastering the art of transformation. From a troubled taxi driver
You talking to me?
to a ruthless mob boss, he didn't just play characters, he became them. His rise began with classics like Mean Streets, Taxi Driver, and Raging Bull, the latter earning him an Oscar and a place in cinematic history. But De Niro didn't stop acting. In 1989, he co-founded Tribeca Productions, giving him creative control and a new revenue stream behind the camera. The real financial knockout, though? Nobu, the luxury restaurant and hotel empire he co-founded, now with over 40 locations around the globe. That single venture turned De Niro from actor to hospitality mogul, and his lifestyle reflects that shift. A penthouse in Greenwich Village designed by elite Japanese architects, a 98-acre estate in upstate New York with guest houses, a private ski slope, and even a boxing ring. Oh, and a super yacht worth $80 million, casually anchored for summer escapes. But despite the extravagance, De Niro remains deeply connected to his roots. He supports education, the arts, and rebuilding efforts through the Tribeca Film Institute, helping the next generation find their voice just as he once found his. Acting gave him fame. Producing gave him power. But business? That gave him a legacy. Coming up next, a silver screen icon whose billion-dollar booze deal and Italian villa made him one of the suavest moguls in Hollywood. We enter the effortlessly refined world of George Clooney, the definition of classic charm, with a net worth of $550 million. Born in 1961 in Kentucky, Clooney began humbly bouncing between small TV roles before landing his big break in the hit medical drama ER. But beneath the heartthrob persona was a sharp mind for both film and finance. Hollywood loved him in Ocean's 11, Syriana, and Michael Clayton, where he moved between smooth-talking thief, oil operative, and morally torn lawyer with grace. Yet, it was what happened off-screen that truly elevated his fortune. In 2013, Clooney co-founded Casamigos Tequila with close friends, a casual project born from backyard tastings. 4 years later, they sold it for $1 billion. Yes, billion with a B. That single deal made Clooney one of the wealthiest actors in the world almost overnight. And how does a billionaire unwind? In style, of course. Clooney's primary escape is his legendary 18th century villa on Lake Como, Italy. With 25 rooms, private gardens, and a lakeside view fit for royalty, it's a playground for Hollywood's elite and a home away from the flash bulbs. He also owns a stunning English estate on a private island in the River Thames, and a mansion tucked in Studio City, Los Angeles, complete with tennis courts, lush landscaping, and the serenity only generational wealth can provide. His car collection? Understated but refined. A Tesla Roadster, a vintage Corvette, and a Lexus LS for those quiet California drives. But Clooney's true signature is generosity. Alongside his wife Amal, he founded the Clooney Foundation for Justice, championing global human rights and funding legal aid for those without a voice. A tequila fortune, European villas, and a cause bigger than himself, Clooney's empire is built on charm, strategy, and substance. But next on our list, a man whose smile hides something darker and whose Joker deal rewrote the rules of Hollywood forever. At number 5 sits a man whose very name commands the presence, Jack Nicholson. With a net worth of $570 million, Nicholson doesn't just play characters, he defined entire eras of cinema. Born in 1937 in Neptune City, New Jersey, his journey to stardom began in the late 60s, but it was Easy Rider in 1969 that marked his breakthrough, launching a career that would stretch across generations.
Oh, I've got a helmet. I got a beauty.
Nicholson gave us some of the most unforgettable performances in history. The rebellious Randall McMurphy in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, the deranged Jack Torrance in The Shining, and the original live-action Joker in Batman 1989. That Joker role changed Hollywood forever. Nicholson negotiated a deal almost unheard of at the time. Not just a salary, but a cut of the movie's earnings. The result? Over $60 million from a single role. Pure financial genius dressed in clown makeup. But Nicholson's wealth goes far beyond box office hits. His passion for fine arts led to a collection worth an estimated $150 million, including works by Picasso, Matisse, and Warhol. Not just taste, but smart investment. His real estate portfolio is equally staggering. He owns multiple properties on Mulholland Drive in Beverly Hills, a compound of homes merged into one sprawling estate. Add a beachfront property in Malibu and a private winter hideaway in Aspen, Colorado, and you begin to understand the scale of his quiet luxury. Nicholson's car collection? Subtle but classic. Mercedes, Porsche, and a few timeless rides that match his no-frills, high-value lifestyle. Known for being fiercely private in his later years, he quietly supports causes in arts, education, and the preservation of American film. A mind as sharp as his stare, a portfolio as deep as his roles. Jack Nicholson didn't just play the game, he bent it to his will. But speaking of bending rules, our next actor doesn't wait for the stuntman. He is the stuntman and the pilot of his own private fleet. Coming in at number 4, Tom Cruise. A man who doesn't just star in action films, he lives them. With a net worth of $600 million, Cruise turned high-octane stunts and meticulous planning into an empire of control, speed, and profit. Born in 1962, Cruise exploded into fame in the 1980s with Risky Business and Top Gun. Audiences loved his confidence, studios loved his work ethic, and by the 90s, Cruise had become one of the most bankable stars on the planet. But his real power move came in 1993, when he co-founded Cruise/Wagner Productions. From that point on, Cruise didn't just act, he owned the movies he starred in. The result? A franchise like Mission Impossible, where he not only played the lead, but also took home massive back-end profits. For Mission Impossible 2, Cruise earned nearly $100 million just from that one film. Now let's talk about lifestyle. Cruise once owned a 298-acre estate in Telluride, Colorado, complete with private trails, a forest of evergreens, and a helipad perfect for arriving in style. He's also held luxury properties in Beverly Hills and Clearwater, Florida, each designed for privacy, elegance, and speed of access. And of course, the aircraft. Cruise is a licensed pilot and personally flies his Gulfstream 4 jet. But his favorite? A vintage P-51 Mustang, a World War II fighter plane, lovingly restored and often seen roaring through the sky with Cruise at the controls. His garage? Equally thrilling. A Bugatti Veyron, Porsche 911, and custom Ford Mustang Celine. Precision machines for a man who lives on the edge. But behind the blockbuster energy, Cruise has a philanthropic side, donating to children's hospitals, education programs, and veterans' causes. He funds what he believes in quietly, but consistently. A perfectionist, a daredevil, a producer who's turned risk into reward at every turn. Tom Cruise doesn't just act in movies, he lives in one. But if Cruise takes risks for millions, the next star prints millions with a smile, and his tequila brand alone is worth more than some movie studios. At number 3, we find a man who turned charisma into currency and muscles into millions. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, with a staggering net worth of $800 million. Born in 1972 in Hayward, California, Johnson came from a lineage of wrestlers, but his journey wasn't smooth. After failed attempts at a pro football career, he reinvented himself in the WWE, becoming one of the most electrifying entertainers in sports history. But wrestling was only the beginning. Hollywood came calling in the early 2000s, and The Rock delivered. From The Scorpion King, which earned him a record-breaking $5.5 million for his first starring role, to global franchises like Fast and Furious and Jumanji, Johnson became a guaranteed box office success. For Red Notice alone, he reportedly earned $30 million. Then came the Empire. In 2012, he co-founded 7 Bucks Productions, creating films and TV shows that he stars in and profits from. But his biggest play? Terramana Tequila, launched in 2020. Valued at over $3.5 billion, it's not just a brand, it's a phenomenon, making Johnson one of the wealthiest beverage moguls in the world. His lifestyle is exactly what you'd expect from a man who defines modern masculinity. In 2021, he purchased a $27 million estate in Beverly Park, with panoramic views, a world-class gym, a tennis court, and even its own baseball diamond. He also owns a 46-acre ranch in Georgia, complete with equestrian facilities and vast natural beauty, a personal escape built for both peace and power. His car collection? As bold as he is. A custom Ford F-150, a Pagani Huayra, a Rolls-Royce Wraith. All precision, performance, and prestige. And when he's not on land, he's in the sky aboard his $65 million Gulfstream G650 private jet, flying between movie sets, boardrooms, and family time. But The Rock isn't all steel and tequila. He founded the Dwayne Johnson Foundation, focused on helping children with serious illnesses and disabilities. He donates to disaster relief, supports veterans, and constantly uses his platform to uplift others. From humble beginnings to tequila titan, from wrestling rings to private runways, Dwayne Johnson is living proof that hustle, heart, and vision can build an empire. But what if I told you the next richest actor doesn't jump off buildings or sell tequila? He just talks and earns $50 million a year doing it. In the runner-up spot, we meet a man who built an empire on nothing. Jerry Seinfeld, with an astonishing net worth of $950 million, became one of the richest entertainers in history by simply talking and doing it better than anyone else. Born in Brooklyn in 1954, Jerry started his career the old-fashioned way, grinding through New York stand-up comedy clubs in the late 1970s. A few breakthrough appearances on The Tonight Show put him on the radar, but no one could have predicted what came next. In 1989, he co-created Seinfeld with Larry David, a show famously about nothing that went on to become a cultural phenomenon. 9 seasons, countless quotable moments, and one of the most lucrative deals in television history. By the show's final season, Jerry was earning $1 million per episode. But the real jackpot came after the cameras stopped rolling. Syndication. Every time Seinfeld airs anywhere in the world, Jerry gets paid. Estimates say he's earned over $400 million just from syndication rights alone, and the income stream never stops. His Netflix comedy specials, sold-out stand-up tours, and series like Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee keep bringing in tens of millions per year, all while he keeps doing what he loves: talking, driving, and laughing. Now, let's talk about the lifestyle of comedy royalty. In 2000, Seinfeld purchased a $32 million East Hampton estate. It spans 12 acres, including a private baseball diamond, and most famously, a 22-car garage designed specifically to house his true passion: Porsches. Jerry owns one of the largest and rarest Porsche collections in the world, over 150 models, including a 1955 Porsche 550 Spyder and the nearly mythical Porsche 959. These aren't just cars, they're mechanical art pieces, and Seinfeld treats them as such. He also owns a $4 million Manhattan townhouse, just steps from Central Park, and once sold a 27-acre mountain estate in Telluride for $14 million just because he wasn't using it anymore. Philanthropy? Absolutely. Seinfeld supports numerous causes, including education, health research, and autism awareness. He's donated millions quietly and consistently, often through fundraising events that blend comedy with purpose. A billion-dollar brand built on timing, truth, and a love for the absurd. Jerry Seinfeld turned simple conversation into a lifetime of luxury. But number 1 on this list didn't grow up in luxury. In fact, he grew up with nothing, and now he owns more production space than Disney and Warner Bros. Combined. And at number 1, we arrive at a name that didn't just rise to the top, he built his own ladder. Tyler Perry, with a net worth of $1.4 billion, is more than just the richest actor in Hollywood. He's a self-made mogul who refined the industry on his own terms. Born in 1969 in New Orleans, Perry grew up in poverty, facing abuse, instability, and rejection. But through it all, he found solace in storytelling, writing scripts, staging plays, and eventually creating a character that would change everything: Medea. What started as a stage act became a franchise. Perry wrote, directed, and starred in films that audiences couldn't get enough of: Medea's Family Reunion, Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Each release filled theaters and brought in hundreds of millions in box office revenue. But the secret to Perry's fortune? Ownership. Unlike most in Hollywood, he owns 100% of his content. The scripts, the shows, the films. That alone is worth hundreds of millions. Add to that his deal with BET Plus, and the numbers skyrocket. And then there's the crown jewel, Tyler Perry Studios. Opened in 2019 in Atlanta, it spans 330 acres built on land that once housed a Confederate military base. Today, it's a creative empire with 12 sound stages, its own replica White House, and production facilities rivaling Disney and Warner Bros. In fact, his studio is larger than both combined. Perry's real estate portfolio is as commanding as his career. A 17,000 square foot mansion in Atlanta, a 24,000 square foot Tuscan-style villa in Beverly Hills, and a secluded log cabin retreat in Wyoming where he escapes to write and reset. And of course, a private jet, used not just for luxury, but for visiting family and flying out emergency aid when others can't. His philanthropy is as bold as his business moves. He once paid $2.7 million in back property taxes to save Atlanta residents from eviction. He built a new home for a 93-year-old woman wrongfully displaced. And he continuously donates to causes tied to education, justice, and dignity. Tyler Perry turned pain into purpose, rejection into resilience, and dreams into an empire. From homeless to Hollywood's highest earner, his story isn't just about wealth, it's about will. If you enjoyed this video about the 7 richest Hollywood actors in the world, you'll definitely like this one about inside these Singapore's most powerful and billionaire families. You'll be shocked when you watch it. Don't miss it!